Coach, do you think it's something pertaining to your team, or do you think this is a league-wide issue?
Well, I've seen quite a few dust-ups in the league so far, so I think it's a league-wide issue. I mean, bad officiating is bad officiating. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete.
What do you think, again, in the second half, allowed you all to create some distance there, and what can you build on going into that cup final?
I thought we were physical on defense. I think that's where we lacked in the first half. I think the first half we had moments where we're up 10, we're up 8, we're up 12.
A non-basketball play getting shoved to the ground, and it's just a technical foul. Nobody gets ejected. Now from that, obviously tensions were so high.
Did Caitlin Clark just become the WNBA's most targeted player? The league quietly suspended referees after her eye-poking incident went viral, but what really forced this historic move? From dangerous plays to secret financial pressures, we're uncovering the untold story behind the Clark rule. Stay with us to learn what the WNBA doesn't want to publicly admit. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, it was clear she was a different kind of player. Her deep threes, pinpoint passing, and undeniable court presence weren't just exciting, they were generational. Fans flocked to see her play, and the league saw her as a ticket to a brighter future. But strangely, as Clark's star rose, so did the frequency of questionable calls against her. In her rookie and sophomore seasons, fans couldn't ignore the bizarre officiating decisions that seemed to follow her. Were they just unlucky moments, or was something more deliberate happening? Let's talk specifics.
I started talking to the officials in the first quarter, and we knew this was going to happen. You could tell it was going to happen. So they got to get control of it. They got to be better. They got to be better.
The referees are going to review the play because that's a lot of contact going on right there. That's a lot of unnecessary contact. That's a lot of non-basketball contact happening during this play.
Well, that's about the game too.
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys came for basketball.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
talk
seriously.
about basketball.
Yeah.
Come on now.
What do you think of just how you all were able to pull away in the second half, Caitlin, in
We're
particular?
going to the Commissioner Cup Championship.
Let's
That's
go!
pretty exciting.
Of course, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected because that was unwarranted. She literally came out of nowhere and chucked Caitlin Clark. There should be a flagrant one, of course, on J.C. Sheldon.
One of the most infamous examples came during a heated game against the Atlanta Dream in 2024. Kennedy Carter blatantly shoved Caitlin during a scramble for the ball, sending her flying into the scorer's table. To everyone's disbelief, the officials didn't call a foul, on Carter anyway. That moment alone lit up social media, with fans calling for the league to hold its referees accountable. But it didn't stop there. The following year, the Chicago Sky repeatedly targeted Clark in a playoff game with rough, borderline flagrant fouls. Not one was called. And then came June 17th, 2025, the game that broke the internet. During a tense matchup, Clark drove to the basket, where she was poked in the eye so hard she dropped to the floor. Before she could recover, an opposing player shoved her down further. Fans held their breath, waiting for a whistle, and they got one. But it wasn't for a foul. It was a technical on Caitlin. Video of her sitting on the court, holding her eye in disbelief, spread like wildfire. Fans, analysts, and even other players began calling out the league for failing to protect one of its biggest stars. The backlash was immediate. The hashtag #Protect Caitlin Clark was everywhere on social media, calling attention to what fans felt was targeted indifference.
There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long.
And then Marina Mabry comes out of nowhere and chucks her to the floor. They took these referees, they were at the monitor, they looked at it for, I'm not even exaggerating, you guys, like 15 minutes. 15 minutes they are watching this play over and over. They are seeing who pushed who.
And then what did you make of Sophie Cunningham's flagrant foul on JC towards the end?
It was a flagrant foul.
Do you think it's like defending Caitlin or defending the team, or how do you view just how it all?
I view it as a flagrant foul.
Experts reviewing the game footage noted Clark wasn't exaggerating. The hits she took were real. Suddenly, the WNBA's officiating wasn't just seen as ineffective, it was labeled dangerous. A public relations nightmare for a league trying to grow. Fans and sponsors demanded answers, and the league quietly suspended the refs involved. Still, the question remains, was this incompetence or something deeper? Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA hasn't just been felt on the court. Her popularity has redefined what the league can achieve off it. Since her rookie debut, she's crushed records across the board. Her games draw millions of viewers, ticket sales spike whenever she's playing, and her jersey stays sold out for months at a time. In just a couple of seasons, she's become a walking highlight reel and perhaps the league's most valuable player, not just to her team, but to its bottom line. For a league still fighting to grow its audience and revenue, Clark represents the kind of star power it needs to thrive. And that's why her treatment by the refs wasn't just a topic for basketball fans, it was a business crisis.
JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin Clark. She swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin Clark nudges her off because JC stays in her face. And then Tina Charles runs over and is kind of wagging her finger in Caitlin Clark's face.
You know, we kind of got over the hump there, and then we're able to grow our lead in the fourth quarter. They even cut it to 10 in the fourth quarter, and I thought we really responded well, and we're able to open it up for a pretty comfortable win.
And JC Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected. Marina just came out of nowhere and chucked her to the ground and was not ejected for that. So what do you actually need to do to be ejected from the game in a WNBA game?
Behind the scenes, it wasn't just the fans who were outraged by moments like her eye-poking incident. Sponsors and TV executives reportedly saw that footage and panicked. Imagine being a major partner funding the league, only to watch its brightest star be mishandled, or worse, risk a serious injury. One league source summed it up bluntly, saying, "You let her get injured and you lose the golden goose." Those moments didn't just spark debates on fairness, they forced the WNBA to confront how much was at stake financially. Caitlin's health wasn't just her issue anymore, it was their survival. Sponsors and networks, already concerned about Clark's safety, made their concerns known. The numbers validated it too. Games featuring Clark brought in record-breaking revenue. Her ability to attract a larger audience directly boosted the league's profits. Losing her even temporarily wasn't an option. That pressure forced the WNBA to act, suspending referees involved in missed calls and announcing retraining initiatives to protect freedom of movement. What came next was unofficially dubbed the Clark Rule, a recalibration of officiating to prioritize players like her who elevate the game and keep the spotlight on women's basketball. But while this sends a clear message about stars being untouchable, will it actually regain the trust of fans and players who saw the league fail her in the first place? Caitlin Clark's battle against questionable officiating forced the WNBA into an uncomfortable spotlight. The league had to make a choice: protect its most valuable player or risk alienating fans, sponsors, and its future. Suspending referees and implementing the Clark Rule wasn't just about fairness, it was about survival. It marked the first time the league publicly addressed officiating failures at this level, a monumental shift in priorities. But will rule changes fix everything, or are they just damage control? Caitlin's influence has already reshaped basketball on the court. Now, the real question is whether she can push the league to truly evolve.